flexible. Shen ban is a pretty normal one, but I think we know what Afreeca play. Aatrox, Nocturne, Swain. These are the sort of champions they love to play. Always have that Rakan at the back of your mind. This has always seemed like the most obvious first pick of all time to try to empower Tempt, and it's going to be the first ban on the side of Afreeca. We don't have it on the screen right now, but if you're joining us late, Taliyah and Karthus are both enabled, but because of the bugs in Echo Fox versus Clutch Gaming, those two champions cannot take Smite. Important for both. Karthus only really played mid lane with Smite. We saw one game from Kuro in a side lane. Not Kuro, I should say. BDD in a side lane on the Karthus. That wasn't a Smite game. But the Taliyah flex pick is another reason she's such a viable first pick. She's still enabled, but cannot take Smite.
You'll notice that the Nocturne first picked by Afreeca in game number 1. Game 2 on the red side, they do not want to give that first pick away. They will take it away from the side of BBQ and Trick.
I think Vladimir and Ryze are both going to be left open by Afreeca. They don't seem too concerned about picks like that. But with the Mordekaiser banned, some of these strong laning bruisers are targeted. Aiming is known to play the Yasuo in solo queue. We do have that overlay just in case to reiterate the point. And they're actually going to blue side ban the Aatrox as well. Okay. I can understand that from BBQ. Afraid that Kino will just run away with the game eventually. And Aatrox, with his ability to go Titanic Hydra Rage Blade and win the game, he's kind of a ticking time bomb in a lot of games. So at least you are meaning that Keen will show us something new or default back to the Darius. And they'll ban the Vlad, seeing the Mordekaiser, and clearly aiming, not wanting to go the way of the Ryze.
And the coach of BBQ just gives a little laugh as he says, well, we can take Lulu, and there's still Yi and Taric left available. No bans on either of those champions, so smirks all around on the side of BBQ. Would they try to go for that composition is left to be seen, but...
Would you take Taric as a support here? You could do that if you were Afreeca. It doesn't feel good to have in the 2v2, but could argue that Braum Taric could replace it. And maybe we'll just see Afreeca Freecs play against it, because I think you have a pretty good read on that one. Valdez, Trick had been playing some of those funnel strategies in solo queue. But the Yasuo taken, Yasuo Alistar would be the expected picks here from Afreeca. Flex pick on the Yasuo, and Yasuo Alistar complete bot lane for the option there. Aiming already has played this lane this season. And they will take Yasuo Alistar, but is it time? Reveal yourself, Trick. There it is.
I mean, we saw this in the first series we had tonight. You first picked the Lulu. Neither Yi or Taric is bad. You don't want to take them alone as a counter pick, so the side that got BBQ first pick easily nets up the other two of that strategy, and you have two fantastic supports for Yi.
But now we see this man on your screen, Zephyr, draft against it. What are you going to do, Zephyr? Seems like the first pick here is going to be a jungler on the red side. So Graves attempted against it before. I'm not a big fan, but I understand the theory. The theory is he farms so fast that if you can influence where BBQ go, which camps they have access to, which they don't, maybe things can work out. But to me, it's an additional timer on the game. So playing with fire a bit here, the Afreeca Freecs. They don't take Braum in the first round. Braum is the answer from Gen G. Braum mid with basically anything in the jungle role. It was Camille one game, and basically the theory there is extra hard CC to lock down the Yi in a team fight.
And now for Afreeca, it's all about banning other stuff that goes well with the funnel strat onto Yi. The Braum gets banned, as you mentioned, Papa. They'll take that away from him.
Do they just leave open Mundo Lucian and see Mundo Lucian on blue side? It could happen, for sure. Yasuo has good answers to the Lucian. The culling gets very little value against the win wall. But that would be the comp that we saw Kingzone running in Game 2 earlier tonight. Braum is actually banned by BBQ. They don't want to have to deal with that. Would have good synergy with the Yasuo and the knock-up potential. And Darius banned by Afreeca. Very interesting. Does that just mean Dr. Mundo from the side of Afreeca Freecs?
We saw MVP running those three that BBQ have, plus Darius and Vladimir. Now both of those are banned, so a couple of extra, you know, big frontliners for the E that can also do damage are taken away from the side of BBQ.
Want to see where the curveball is from Afreeca. Braum banned. BBQ final ban will ban Mundo. I saw the Darius ban. That's why I thought that Keen would first pick Mundo in the second round. Darius only really banned against some of those abuse matchups. So, Afreeca Freecs, reveal yourself. How do you answer the Mata strategy?
Ooh.
Hard CC is one way to answer. Our first Lissandra in the LCK.
Yes. That's all I have to say.
It's kind of a replacement for Braum in some ways. It's a champion that forces QSS quite early from Trick, that slows down a Yi multiple different ways. I'm a pretty big fan of the Lissandra, old pick for Kuro. QSS will answer a lot of what she does, but it's another item that needs to be loaded on, and if you kill all their camps and force a QSS, maybe there's a way that that works strategically. BBQ is saying, if we're fighting, we're really fighting. They've gone for the Camille in the solo lane.
And maybe another thing to help out the Yi, Black Shield would be fantastic for the side of Yi. The question is, where would you throw that? I guess just
support.
Down in the supporter lane.
So this is going to be a Lulu mid lane, Camille top lane. Afreeca want to take a skill matchup against the Camille and try to find a way to answer that if they do go the way of the Fiora. But there's still some unknowns about the way that BBQ can go in. Here we go. This is a matchup people have talked about. People have been asking me what's good into Aatrox, and a lot of people believe that it is the Jax. Jax can also do some interesting things against Master Yi in a team fight with the ability to go and dodge his auto attacks for a period. Keen on the Jax, an old pick for him.
Yep. He's got a lot of practice on that pick, and you mentioned the Counter-Strike going to be fantastic against Yi. Can really stop his combo. You can add another stun to the list of stuns that they do have. The targeted one from Kuro, and of course the Alistar is always really good against Yi, but will this turn into a game of, you know, lull, just CC him lull, or will it actually work out for this composition that Afreeca has drafted? I have confidence in them, but we'll have to wait and see. The other thing about Lissandra is that she's really good at pushing into the Taric E, so she can free up that lane to try to roam a little bit or to just, you know, put a lot of pressure on the Taric in the mid lane.
We're still not seeing a perfect draft, I think, against Master Yi and Taric, and to be honest, we don't really know what it looks like because teams have, to a point, been able to attack this duo. It doesn't have a 100% win rate anymore. I think a lot of it is play style to try to shut down there being free farm at every moment for the Master Yi. See if we can become believers of the Graves into it, because there's always a moment where he starts to pop the Highlander and Graves really has no answer to the all-in.
I mean, he has a decent amount of burst damage if you can, you know, stick on through the Cosmic Radiance and try to dash away and buy some time. Once the E gets out of that, maybe you can throw down a Q ultimate and auto attack and just try to burst him down. But outside of that, you're definitely correct. And we're just ready to get into game number 2 right now. Can BBQ pull this off in a last chance against Afreeca?
생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Excited to see Lissandra and even Jax making their way back in here into the summer split. I would assume Jax was played at least once, but I'm not 100% certain about that.
Had a lot of it in summer 2017, at least a smattering in spring season. Big favorite of Khan's, of course. And
so Jungle Jax
yep,
in the spring.
Malrang special that other people like Beyond was playing as well. And we get another game of Mata. Master Yi and Taric, that is the duo name over in Korea. The Lulu first pick into neither of them being banned away. No takeaway on the Taric, and can't be surprised that BBQ pulled the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their bans, Zoe, Nocturne, and Vlad. I really like those bans. Maybe you don't ban Vlad, you ban the Yi instead.
It's one of those things where we saw Genji beat it a couple of times. First time, it looked pretty easy. That was against SK Telecom. The second time, they really labored and only just got over the line. And then Genji was like, all right, let's just ban it. One of those things where I thought my hypothesis was going to be top teams like Afreeca Freecs, one of the few ways to beat them is something cheesy, which Master Yi and Taric pretty reliably is. So why not just ban it and make your life easier? Now also in the bot lane, it's going to be the Lulu and Morgana. Just duo lane, just farming along. Bit of harass there. Is level 2 hit by King.
Yeah, the Jackson to Camille. Certainly not so bad up there in the top side. Another reason you can pick that. Jax try to counter the top lane pick. Saving that top lane pick for the counter on the red side has always been a big strength for the red side. King pushing in, level 2 is even going to come down here, try to check the buff. We'll see that the blue buff was taken.
Well, they're surprised to see Taric farming in the mid lane against the Lissandra. Usually you see the Taric following to increase the speed of the jungle clear and also things like the scuttle. If you CC them, you can clear them a lot faster. But they actually give up the scuttle because the Taric's not involved, and farm on Taric doesn't really matter. So that's kind of the odd little adjustment we're seeing from the side of BBQ, spending so much time with the Taric in mid lane.
Even a level 2 roam here from Ignar on the Morgana, looking to flash on in. Good flash there from Kuro very early on to make sure he doesn't get hit by the Dazzle. Saw the Morgana coming in and says, no, I want nothing to do with that.
I've seen the Morg in the periphery. Trades are always so explosive. It is fun to see the Jax vs Camille on the top side. Both of them going the Conqueror rune, of course. But so far, if you notice, Master Yi is in a very good spot. The Graves, I should say, is in a very good spot against Master Yi because the funnel hasn't been happening. Taric has been CSing, not holding the wave. Notice he doesn't have relics, so those are actually just 13 CS he's picked up. This is kind of a peculiar approach to the strategy from Tempt and Trick.
Yeah, it's certainly a new thing we're seeing. I mean, you can always say the Yi's eventually going to come online, right? We could just take it into the later game, try to stall the lanes with 3 different support picks. But then again, Taric mid alone is not good against Lissandra. I mean, he's been CSing a little bit with his Ancient Coin that he picked up, by the way. So
it just seems
okay, but that's just about it.
It just seems wrong about us because the whole point of the funnel is that Master Yi doesn't get his items. He's very item reliant. His levels obviously are going to be beneficial, but he's item reliant, needing to get into Devourer and the Rage Blade. Him getting the farm is so important for the strategy. And the other point of the funnel is, you know, a funnel is all about directing things where you need it. You don't need gold on Taric. It doesn't really do anything. So maybe it's going to get him an Ancient Coin slightly faster into the Nomad's Medallion, but very, very strange usage of what is now a pretty established duo.
Yeah. And let's take a look at the champions that have been played here by BBQ. They actually have not played this strategy just yet. They played Karthus in the mid lane twice. I think one of those times was with Nunu, one without, if I'm not mistaken. So this is our first time watching them do it. Maybe they're not 100% practiced. I wouldn't think so from a pro team, but as you say, it doesn't really make 100% sense here.
It seems like an attempt at a next level because I refuse to believe they haven't seen all the teams do it and also played against it and also solo queue. Trick has been playing the Master Yi in solo queue, so I'm going to refute that possibility a week and a bit into the season and say they're trying something different. Maybe getting the Taric, the Nomad's Medallion earlier, will get an Ardent Sensor early, but they're giving up Scuttle Crabs. It didn't seem necessary. It's double melee, taking a lot of harass bot side.
I mean, that's one of the other benefits of having 2 harassing supports down here. But the exhaust comes in. They force the flash at a Ghost who just takes one step too far. Bit of a mistake for sure. Spirit's still coming in here, helping push in so that they can get a good back timing in this bottom lane.
Very, very frustrating to play against double ranged as Yasuo and Alistar, but kind of the cost of running these double support lanes, we saw this from Fnatic, of course, with Reckless on Janna the first time out, is kill pressure, quite difficult. Trick was able to alpha strike onto Kuro.
Oh, but the CC is going to come on in. The TP immediately from Ghost means that they will decide not to continue onto that kill.
Anarome was coming from the Jax. Threat of action, but no action actually comes to pass. Note that Trick didn't use Highlander in that passage of play.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned how less funneling is not going to be good. Okay, here we go. They're going in now, and the stun comes on to Kuro. He can't actually teleport out. And there it is, first blood. Trick extremely low. continuing on in, deciding he had no way to get out. Wanted to continue on with alpha striking, but it did not come through. So a 1-for-1 in the end.
Not perfect. They should have done better. You would think BBQ, knowing that ultimate was down from Kuro, so a 1-for-1 is a little bit strange. Doesn't seem great. So far, not impressed with the use of the Master Yi Taric. In the meantime, Jack's starting to open a CS advantage, only a dagger to his name in front of his lane opponent. Tucson has to be careful. There's been so many successful bindings from Ignar in this game.
He's definitely been on point with his Morgana play. That's for sure. Talk about how there's a lot of different CC on the side of Afreeca, and when you're not getting funneled the extra, 20 or so creeps that Taric is taking up in the middle lane, it's going to be a little bit harder to get to your QSS eventually as well. So just another thing to think about. That is going to be delayed.
A lot more experience onto the Taric. Does mean Cosmic Radiance is available. We're going to watch the replay of how this all happened. Is this Trick coming into mid lane? I really like the dazzle timing here. It's very clean. But it just ends up being a 1-for-1 because Trick doesn't have any mana afterwards. So this ends up dying incidentally. There was no reset on the Alpha Strike. Weird.
Yeah. Looks a little bit weird, but it was what it was. Trick is going to be able to pick up the blue buff now, at least.
Thinking that Jax will grow a lead in the top side. Is it Jack's favorite matchup into the Camille, outside of certain points with the jungler, and there is no jungler on the side of BBQ when it comes to ganking side lanes, so Jax being able to overextend should be pretty happy times for Afreeca. And then when you look at the funnel, well, there's only a 400 gold lead for the Yi over the enemy Lissandra, which is usually the way you have to do the calculation.
Yeah. And that's mainly in the kill. CS is very close. Only just a bit more, I guess 8 CS more to the side of Trick. We'll have to wait and see how it goes a little bit later on, of course, because with 3 supports and a, one-click engage with the Camille, there's definitely some things you can do. Trying to come in here with the Cosmic Radiance, trying to bait a fight with Kuro. The TP comes in too, but now Trick only has the Wild Growth, and he's getting pretty low. Do they have enough? And coming from behind there was the Alistar to pick up that kill. Crazy will go down to a very messy fight there from BBQ, getting caught out, and Afreeca scoop up the kill.
Really nice flank coming through from Tucson to guarantee the first kill. Kuro can buy so much time with the self-ultimate. Something we weren't talking about is that QSS be damned. Why not just be untargetable and waste a lot of the time of the Yi? Very nicely played by the Afreeca Freecs.
Kind of an awkward spot as Tempt gets caught out here.
It's all about Tucson being ahead of this play. He's there, and even through teleport, he gets into the back line. Kuro's wasting the entire Cosmic Radiance. Remember, self-ult duration is the same as Cosmic Radiance duration. So Master Yi can't get any value. They have CC coming from other sides. Step ahead of the play there. Nicely executed by Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, good play from them. Almost baiting the opposition into a fight. Not what you see sometimes. The Master Yi team wants to fight once they get the combination of the ultimates of Master Yi and Taric, but this time looks like Afreeca has it figured out. The early roam from Tucson as well as the untargetability from the Lissandra. This might be something you see a lot more often instead of the Braum. Just bringing a Lissandra into the middle lane, and it'll definitely force teams to think about exactly how they'll deal with the Lissandra instead of the Braum if you want to play this Mata composition.
And Lissandra's been played in other regions, not in Korea. That's the difference, is that Lissandra's been seeing some play. She still has her very well-defined weaknesses. Her burst combo can be negated by QSS. Burst combo doesn't one rotation people as the game goes on. But if everyone's a squishy fighter, she often can be very relevant. And Keen walking up to Crazy.
Keen certainly destroying him in this lane. He's got double buff, and there's nowhere for Crazy to go. Uses that hook shot to help in the trade, and then there was nowhere for him to go. And now Master Yi is going to disappear. That's the burst I was talking about. If you can lock him down, well, Graves can end the life of that Master Yi. Now Ignar in a ton of trouble here. Even a teleport coming on in. They really want to get the kill. TP is going to be canceled, but Ghost also in a really rough spot here. Taric coming in will be able to heal get the shield down onto Ghost, so he does survive, but just really messy from BBQ, not able to survive against Afreeca.
Crazy's big strength as a player was always supposed to be his laning phase. That was really awful Camille play. Going in with the hook shot, he's maxed it first, but there was no exit strategy, just straight up died. As Conqueror popped over the head, Keen goes golden, says, have I got a solo kill for you? That was really, really bad play by the Camille, unfortunately, and that gives Keen a lead. And then on the bot side, we saw that collapse from the Graves Alistair, like you mentioned. The deep wards are already enacted, and suddenly they're winning all over the map.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like my prophecy of 28 and 23 minutes is coming into play here, because this isn't just, you know, countering the Yi at this point. This is Jax, Graves, and Lissandra, and Yasuo free farming in the bot lane, by the way.
It's double buffs on
Can't
King.
go in there.
Why would you go forward? He doesn't have flash. He's against flash Jax with doubles.
Yeah.
This is super rubbish play by Crazy, who's a good laner.
Yeah. We've got to the point, guys, where Papa just will not hold back. When he sees something like that,
It's terrible.
You gotta say it like it is, and I do agree with you. That not the best. I mean, Keen also is a fantastic player. The second he sees that, he's like, oh, well, thanks. I guess I'll take the free kill, buddy. Especially with double buffs, I'm like, come on.
That was, that might win worst play of the season.
I was about to say the same thing.
Sorry, Crazy.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
At least you're a winner.
Is he a winner?
He wins the award.
Oh, I guess so. That's definitely not the award you want to win. Poor guy. At this point, it kind of feels like their minds are boom. You know, everybody on the side of BBQ.
How many people on the side of Afreeca are going to have more CS than the Master Yi?
Almost.
It's
I
probably
mean,
going to be
we're
3.
getting there. Might be 3. See if the Yasuo can catch up. I mean, they're losing 3 games in a row. They got crushed in game number 1, out-drafted, outplayed, and now game 2, doesn't seem like they have a good grasp on this composition. They're gonna go for it though. Here comes the Master Yi, never count them out. There's the Wild Growth, they take out Yasuo. The exhaust comes on to Kuro too, and the Polymorph comes in so they can almost kill him, but he doesn't go down. The Jax, predictably, is beginning to go a bit mad. He's level 11, and he wants even more kills, trying to jump on a temp tier. We'll have to use a ward, and the stun is gonna land. Does he have enough damage to take him out? Will they go in? The combo onto the Lulu secures another kill for Keen. And they're just having a blast, steamrolling BBQ.
Absolutely the right time to go in for BBQ. You had to try something, but predictably Jax shows up and decides to fight all off his own back. Kuro couldn't get out, but didn't matter because the Yi went down first. And from there, it's cleanup crew. They don't have as many threats. We already raided the Master Yi turret comp from King Zone with the extra threat in bot lane of the Lucian. This is Jubble's support, so if Trick doesn't do all the work, they don't win the fight.
Yep. Triple support comes in. They keep the Yi alive for a long time, but then once everything runs out, the burst from Graves, even in the backline, he's really fed now. He's able to burst him down. And the stun from the Jax too, who is just, this definitely feels like the solo queue game where for some reason your top laner is 0-6 by 15 minutes, and the enemy Jax / Darius, you know, Irelia, you know, there's a bunch of them, come down into the mid lane, and you're like, how did this guy get so fed? You tab into the stats, and you're like, oh, I see.
Definitely. There wasn't, I mean, it was the right time for BBQ. A lot of people had to come a long way from Afreeca, but by the time Jax got there and was able to counter-strike into just one shot, the Master Yi, it was a significant problem. Master Yi was bettered by 2 people in this fight, and there really is no other damage. Just, here is Master Yi.
Well, Master Yi only goes one direction, and that's directly to the grave, I suppose, as, well, see you later, BBQ. You're not going to make your way out of this one, as Ignar will go down, eventually Tempt as well. They catch them in the jungle. I said it before, it seems like their mental is boom at this point, and it almost looks like they've given up on this one. Not much hope for them as they're down almost 11,000 gold at 16 minutes into the game.
It was a bit like a nature documentary. It feels like we have voyeurs watching this and being like, oh, that's happening, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's awkward. You know, we kind of, we're like, we just, it's a record of facts now. There's no opinions to be given. Afreeca are laughably ahead. It's 11,000 gold ahead of a Master Yi and
it's about to be more too, as they take turrets here at 17. Well, not an easy one to commentate. We knew this was going to be a bit of a one-sided match. Afreeca just solidify in our minds that they are one of the best teams in Korea right now, if not the best. It's certainly looking like it's a battle between Gen.G and Afreeca at this point. I think Griffin is kind of the dark horse in the best team race.
And you feel bad for BBQ that they're struggling in a season where you have the least fallback time. They play again in 2 days' time, and you go through the things that went wrong this game for them. It's big individual mistakes and team mistakes. They pilot a strategy and then don't funnel gold onto the Marseille. They have the Tarek farming. Maybe we can talk to the team at some point, understand if that was intentional. I have to think so.
He has early wards, Papa. It's not really helping out his team right now.
No. Yeah, everything went wrong, and then Crazy had the blooper play onto the Jax to get the Jax even further ahead, and now Jax
3 levels.
3 levels up, and has a lot of unspent gold.
Still has stopwatch available too.
He's gonna finish the game with stopwatch available, Valdez.
He might just do it in the fountain for fun.
And then they have to play again in 2 days. And can you do a VOD review tonight? Probably not. After this game, I don't think the VOD review is going to go down particularly well. And then you're the day before the game. So I really don't envy any team at the bottom right now. Teams like BBQ, SKT, who play again tomorrow. There's not a lot of turnaround time. That's the part where my heart goes out to the players, because when you have to play 3 times a week and you're losing, there's really very, very little ways to come back in unless your opposition is worse.
Yeah. It's rough, for sure. Hopefully, over the Rift Rivals break, they can have some time to try to reset, you know. That does come in, I think, 3 weeks into the season, so maybe around the halfway point of summer.
And that's 8 games, right? Probably 8 matches for every team, I think. I haven't looked over the schedule. Maybe there's slight variance because we play 13 matches a week. But if you're 0-8, that's a lot of hole to try to climb yourself out of. And for BBQ, unless they can find a new level of performance, that's seeming likely.
It's been unfortunate. You guys can take a look at the gold numbers. They're very much in favor of Afreeca. No surprise there. It almost feels like they're waiting for the Baron to go ahead and push in and end the game. Because no doubt once they have Baron buff, they can just push in. Nobody has a banner command. They don't really need it. I talked about Jax's stopwatch. 4 people have stopwatch, and one of them has Zhonya's. So everybody's got a stopwatch on the side of Afreeca. Very helpful against the Yi, too. They're going to find Mr. Yi here, and a 3-man knockup from Deuce. It means that goodbye, Master Yi. They don't really care about the Cosmic Radiance. Tar can go run and hide by himself in the jungle. Perfectly executed and debated in the jungle there as Afreeca just laughed their way to the victory after taking this Baron.
Man, that was the most outplayed. They were so far ahead of it because they had one person look super tasty, and then Alistair kills you before the Tarek ultimate can even come down. Man, Afreeca are so far ahead of BBQ. It's almost like they're playing a different game. It's so hard to commentate games like this because it's, you know, you either kind of have to laugh, cry, or flame. There really isn't a fourth option.
Yeah.
A lot of this game was mistakes from the side of BBQ, but Afreeca are a fantastically strong team. I think it's more informational to the viewers to talk about what BBQ's done wrong, because Afreeca have just kind of played standard and then have one nice moment, but otherwise are just unchallenged.
I think that's certainly the way to think about it, right there. Not finding a challenge in BBQ. We're going to get another look at this. Get your cameras out, guys.
Look at this play. It's beautiful. Holds him in the air. Dies through a Morgana un-CC ability. The Black Shield.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Beautiful play by Afreeca. Oh, now the gold lead is even more disgusting.
It was also the Yasuo combination. They first picked that duo, right? The Alistair Yasuo coming through, as well as the Graves burst damage onto all 3 of them.
It's almost as much gold lead as it is minutes played.
That's insane. I mean, this is, we might actually beat my prediction here. Afreeca could push in here and actually end the 2 games before I predicted.
Well, we don't have a mercy rule. They could forfeit, which is kind of the mercy rule. But they're going to play this one out. Afreeca walk up. And hopefully you can play by play and then say the game's over soon, Valdez.
Yeah, well, they're going to give it one last chance. The Cosmic Radiance comes in and nobody takes damage. The huge knock-up, and that's Yasuo coming in. Oh, baby. The double kill from Kuro. You said they can't eventually outlast your burst, but when you're this far ahead, you have burst for ages. Well, guys, that is going to end before my prediction, before even 23 minutes comes in. Afreeca are going to end the game in what I would say is not really a GG, but that is what you would call a GG for Afreeca. An absolute stomp for the ages. Not close as Afreeca take another win here in LCK.
A 20,000 gold lead in 22 minutes. And honestly, a win for BBQ in that last fight was, can we get a stopwatch? They didn't get any. The only stopwatch was used as the Nexus explodes. That is how far ahead Afreeca were. Outrageous game. One of the most one-sided best of ones we have ever had in Korea. BBQ just completely obliterated by the team of Afreeca Freecs, who go on, didn't have to show much. The Sun just something new, so that's something the teams know. The Jax from Kane was expected, but was cool to see how well it was used. Wonderful performance from Afreeca Freecs, and they cement, in my mind at least, that they are the best team in Korea.
Certainly looking like it. Kingzone, they also got the 2-0 victory earlier on today, but they haven't proven in the way that Afreeca can to dominate teams like this in this manner, and also to draft the way that they do. It's like they're 5 steps ahead of you the whole time, and then by the time you catch up, they're just a shadow. You can never catch up to Afreeca's drafting, and their play is so solid too. Everybody on the lineup of Afreeca is playing well. There's no one player who's really falling behind. Even aiming looking good from the 80 carry role. Wasn't really much of a star in these games, but, you know, he's not making any mistakes either.
The biggest rise for me is I think Spirit is now once up. It's top 3 jungler in Korea. He's playing at a much higher level. And this man on your screen, Keen, is taking his game to a new level. He debuted on Ever 8 Winners, and we're like, this guy can play carries, don't know about the tanks. He spent spring season working on his fundamentals and was a tank-only player for the majority of the season. Now he's going to get to pick for himself more and more this season. And when he does, he has games like this where he just goes off. This is the 1-for-1 where we're like, I don't know if that's worth it. But from there, that was the best moment of the game, you'd say, for BBQ.
Getting there late to join in on the Cosmic Radiance, and fantastic roam from Tucson, Ghost and Crazy. They just can't burst through. The Counter-Strike is also hilarious against Yi and Camille, especially when you're ahead. Oh boy, they're gonna show this one. I thought maybe they'd skip over it just to help out Crazy, but savage as ever is Spo TV. Not the greatest play, perhaps the biggest blooper we'll have here in the LCK Summer 2018.
He didn't even have Flash, Valdez, to flash away after he realized his mistake.
He went in for the last creep, actually, and I think he was baited by the creep. That last minion, I should say.
This was the closest attempt they had at a team fight later on in the game. Kane getting there late allowed it to be a little bit sparing for the side of BBQ. But by the end, everyone was exploding. The next play of them holding them in the air was a really cool one to PogChamp about. But Afreeca Freecs make it a 2-0, 2-0 day, and certainly in explosive fashion.
Yeah, this one, Afreeca just way too far ahead. This is when they're like 7,000 gold, maybe even more. They just solidify it even further, making sure they get all the final kills in the end.
Yeah, just a very, very hard game to talk about, guys.
Yeah.
Who wanted that kill? It was very interesting, this KDA. Oh, they saw Spirit. Oh, they got the most dunked ever.
It's just, yeah. Oh, boy. Poor BBQ. At least in spring, they had other teams below them that they could defeat and take wins off of. You know, Kongbu Monster. MVP was looking worse in that era, too. But now it just looks like BBQ might just be down on the bottom of the list. It's only going to be funny to say it, but it might just be SKT that's struggling with them down at the bottom. And that's one of the most savage gold graphs we've ever seen.
You just have to look at the scale. You've seen plenty of gold graphs. Look at this. Look at the scale. The scale's 25K scale. The game was less than 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable game by the Afreeca Freecs. Unbelievable game, just as a record of fact. With Snowball at its maximum and Afreeca being a lot better than BBQ. You get games like this. Maybe when Snowball is slowed down, a gold graph might read 15K at the end, but with Snowball at its maximum, man. Just shaking my head the majority of the game. There was no analysis to explain what was going to happen. That's what
a rough one for Papa Smithy as well.
A 25K gold lead represents 5,000 gold on each player.
Yeah.
And that was, of course, funneled a little bit because the support would have less gold.
Yeah.
So that was probably, if we could see the gold lead in top, that would be outrageously large. Probably about 8,000 gold there.
Let's take a look at the MVP. Who do you think gets it from this one? I guess Keen, as he did technically outplay. I mean, there wasn't much to outplay, as the play was basically not a play from Crazy. But he did win in the trade, and he did carry on his jacks. So it's good to hear from him. Gets another carry and MVP under his belt. So
I want the Tucson effect from Keen. Win a lot of MVPs and get more comfortable in the MVP interview.
Yeah, so I'll hand it over to Ji-sun to help out with the translation. We'll be back in a bit.
Thank you very much. This is Ji-sun with your interview translation. And here we are with Crow and Keen from Afreeca Freecs. How do you feel? 2-0 victory, I'm really satisfied. We've got a lot of questions for you. And Korean national top laner, Keen, how do you feel? It's your first MVP interview here. So how do you feel? It's been a while since I got my MVP points, so I'm really nervous right now. I'm super nervous. But I just look calm.
미안합니다. 긴장을 안 타는 얼굴이군요. 그건 잘 몰랐습니다. 사실 그 많은 분들께서 뭐 그냥 골고루 좀 말씀을 드릴게요. 긴 선수도 그렇습니다만 프로 선수가 챔피언을 이런 식으로 골라드리니까 우리
I mean, you have played 7 different champions for the summer split.
이게 무슨 전략이
What kind of strategy did you guys practice?
오래된다고 이런 숙련도를 보여주는 것도 아닌데 여기에 대해서는
Were you aware of that, or was that a plan for this summer split? During the practice, I really just pick any champions. And in the competitive games, I just think for the basic compositions of our whole team. Well, it's not a special plan for the summer split.
미안해요. 살리려고 했어. 뭐 중간중간에 경기도 되게 많았습니다. 사실 그 질문 중에 하나가 그게 있었거든요.
One of the question is that
르블랑, 블라디미르, 애니비아, 이렐리아, 벨코즈, 스웨인, 디산드를 골랐어요.
you have picked 7 different champions so far.
이렐리아가 나오면 승률이 별로 안 좋았었거든요.
But mid lane Irelia doesn't seem to be a very viable pick.
뭐 이런 얘기가 좀 슬금슬금 나오고 있거든요.
What are your comments about Irelia on mid lane?
좋은 평가가 있다고는 있는데 프로 선수는 정작 그 이렐리아 어떻게 생각하세요?
이게 조금 이제 사람들 되게 인기가 많았잖아요.
Well, it was really popular, you know, with Irelia.
사람들이 다 이제 좀 대응법 같은 걸 찾는
So I think other players are ready with counter picks.
팀 차원으로.
팀 차원으로는 일단 뭐 개인 챔피언으로서는 뭐 좋은 장면이 있겠습니다만 팀 차원으로는 좀 어려움이 있을 것이다. 뭐 이런 얘기를 하는데 사실 아프리카 프릭스가
So Afreeca Freecs
파파 스미스가 우리 글로벌
and our global caster Papa
ESPN 선적 글로벌 파워 랭킹 1위를 달성을 했어요.
said you guys have the higher possibility for winning the summer split.
이런 얘기가 지금 나오고 있는데 국대 탑솔러 우리 긴 입장에서는
So what are your thoughts about that?
일단 아프리카 프릭스라는 팀을 높게
Thank you for the high value on Afreeca Freecs.
평가에 맞게 열심히 해야죠.
So we're gonna make sure to respond with better performances.
마크로 선택했었을 때 인터뷰에서 그런 얘기가 있었잖아요.
And last time, Keen, in your interview,
내가 어떻게 이겼는지도 모르겠다.
you said you actually don't know how you won.
긴 선수만 그런 게 아니라 전 세계 선수들이 그런 얘기를 많이 하고 있어요. 도대체 이게 어떻게 돌아가는지도 헷갈려한다.
And you know, it's not only you. All the top laners around the world is really confused about the current meta.
순간 이미 경기가 끝나 있더라. 뭐 이런 얘기 있었는데 그럼에도 불구하고 전장에 영향을 굉장히 많이 미친다는 평가가 있거든요.
But
어떻습니까? 지금 기인 선수가 보는
you have been performing really well. So what are your comments about the current meta right now?
게임에 주는 영향력이 적어서 이제
Yeah,
좀
especially the top laners, they have less influence
영향을 주기 좀 힘든데
on other lanes.
이번 판 같은 경우는 이제
But today,
잘 풀리다 보니까 그렇게
I think I got kind of like farmed well, so I was able to carry the whole game.
기존에는 뭐 따로 그 플레이를 펼치다는 느낌이 있었습니다만 잭스는
So game 2 with your
많은
Jax.
분들이 궁금해하셨거든요. 워낙
So how did you guys come up with that team comp?
아무래도 이제 마이 카운터가 잭스라는 소리도 많고
Well, we have thought that
상대로도 잭스 좋으니까
Jax can be a counter pick for Master Yi and Camille.
워낙에 좋은 장면들을 양 선수가 많이 보여줬었는데 그럼 경기를 보면서 조금씩 한번 이야기
Then let's
나눠보도록
have
하겠습니다.
a look with the clips from highlights.
MVP를 차지하는 그 경기 주요 장면 한번 살펴볼까요? 일단 여기서는 이제
So these are the kill logs of the entire game.
우리가 1번부터
So if there any specific number you would like to pick out, just tell us.
우와.
전체 킬로그. 우와 감사해. 우와 감사.
Thank you for your wow response.
아 이걸 골라요?
네 여기서 본인이 잘했다고 생각하는 장면이 있잖아요.
Is there any specific kill you want to see the replay?
비비적대기만 해서 뭘 잘했는지 모르겠어요.
그 비비적댔던 장면 중에서 저희는
Well, I can't really pick out one because I don't remember well. So let's just check out the highlight.
잠깐만요. 리플레이도 비비적대고 있으니까 비비적 끝났어요? 비비적?
Let's have a look.
네, 봐봐요. 이거 어땠어? 좀 설명해 줄까요?
아
This moment right here, how was it?
저쪽이 먼저 걸어가지고.
Well, it was actually BBQ who opened the team fight, so we just want to play it safe.
그래서 이걸 고른 거예요. 비비적거렸으니까.
아, 알겠습니다.
근데 본인의 비비적의 그 컨디션에 대해서는 좀 더 설명해 주신다면요.
Any details?
어떤 거요?
너무 그 순식간에 지나갔으니까.
Any more comments?
이게 비비적도 노하우가 있어야 되는 거 아니겠습니까? 크로의 비비적을 조금 더 구체적으로 말씀해 주신다면요. 이 상황 조금만 좀 말씀해 주신다면요.
Can you illustrate a little bit more about the situation?
그저 뭐냐 스카너를 먼저 물 생각으로 일단.
So we just wanted to catch out Skarner for sure at the beginning of the team fight. So we had great engagement with me and Keen. So we could have a team fight 4v5.
그다음부터 이제 뭐 제가 죽을 게 없기 때문에.
So after that we were really safe. So I was just able to keep pushing through.
굉장히 좀 잘해줬기 때문에 그 이유는 편안하게 경기를 운영할 수 있었다는 것. 프로 선수 아주 멋진 2세트 최고의 비비적 장면을 저희가 한번.
So that was the highlight from Kuro for the first set.
모르겠어요.
Well, I'm not really sure though. I'm not really that satisfied for the first set actually.
긴 선수는
What about you, Keen?
1세트도 물론 좋았습니다만 2세트 장면도 좀 좋은 장면이
You
많았어요.
really outplayed in the game
2세트는
too.
본인이 어떤 장면이 가장 머릿속에 기억이 나요?
Any highlights?
아무래도 솔킬
Solo kill for sure.
박수 한번 줘야죠 이런 건. 솔킬입니다.
Please give a round of applause for Keen.
완전 좋았는데 그게 안 좋아. 그때 완전 난리였어요 완전. 한 방 때려보니까 손맛이 좀 오든가요?
아 이제
How did that feel?
아 잡겠다 싶었죠.
I knew that I was gonna take him down.
준비했어요 담당 PD님?
Then let's check out the highlight.
손맛 좀 해주세요 설명.
Any explanations?
언제부터 손맛이 제대로 왔어요?
아 이제 제가 딜교환을 하려고 들어왔는데 상대가 실수를 해서
I was just about to do some damage, but I see Crazy making a little bit of mistakes, so I knew that I was gonna kill him.
신이 있었네요 킬에 대해서.
For sure.
신이 있었어요.
국대 탑솔러라는 느낌으로 봤었을 때 이게
As a national top laner,
한대 딱 때렸을 때 온 거야? 아니면
when did you see the angle coming?
기다리는 느낌이 온 거야? 아니면 들어오기 전부터 상대편 운지만 살짝 봤었을 때부터 느낀 거예요? 영감이라는 게 있을 거 아니에요?
That moment, any specific moment?
아, 너무 지금
미안해요.
Well, I'm a little bit
하셔서 잘못 들었거든요.
confused right now.
천천히 말씀을 드리면
You were talking a little bit too fast for me.
때리기 전부터 킬각을 봤다.
The-
때리기 바로
Did you know that you were gonna kill him even before the laning phase, or during the laning phase, or after hitting Camille? Well, I would like to say, after I auto-attacked Camille, I knew that I was gonna take him down.
진짜 우리 그 장민철 해설위원이 아주 경악을 금치 못했던 장면이 있었어요 1세트 때.
And one of our Korean casters
스피릿 선수의 녹턴이
said,
꿰뚫기 들어오는데 어둠의 장막으로 컷하는 장면이 있었어요.
Spirit's
눌러가지고.
super play was really awesome in game 2.
아 이거는 못 봤겠구나. 안에 있었어요. 그렇죠? 이 얘기는
I guess you missed it, right?
그래서 막 녹턴 막 상대편이 꿰뚫기로 막 그 스카너가 들어오는데 막 어둠의 장막으로 팍 쳐가지고 딱 막 뭐, 아우 브라보 이런 거 없었어요?
네.
없었어요?
We act
보면 되지 뭐. 야, 이거야,
in the
이거,
game
이거,
1,
이거,
but
이거.
we actually don't remember.
보세요. 이제 코 쪽으로 들어왔는데 여기서 꿰뚫이 들어오려고 하는데 우리 장민철 해설님 거의 죽으려고 그러던데 여기서.
Well, you know, our casters were really amazed by their play.
컷하는 거 꿰뚫기 막 사라지고 막 와 이거 뭐 이러고 난리가 아니었었는데 이때 스카르 공격 사라졌거든요.
And literally, he just ignored the Skarner's ult.
그래가지고 혼자 맞더라 그래서 이거 선수들은 보였나 궁금해서 한번 말씀드렸는데 그만큼 보기가
So I was just wondering if pro players have catched that.
네, 잘했죠. 네.
Well done, Spirit. That's all I can say.
찾지 말라니까 이씨. 그냥 이거 찾아가지고 이러면 뭐 다음 질문 좀 해드리겠습니다.
Then moving on to the next question.
흐름이 좋은 몇 개 팀 중에 단연 1위는 지금 아프리카 프릭스.
So we can say for sure that you guys are in a really good form.
좀 꼽히는 팀들 가운데 이제 뭐 그리핀이 당연히 있고 그리고
Afreeca Freecs and Griffin Kingzones seems to be in their best mood for sure in LCK currently. And your next opponent will be Kingzone Dragon X.
어때요?
일단 킹존 경기는 챙겨봤고.
So I saw their match today.
할만할 것 같아요.
I think we can win them.
저희의 흐름도 만만치 않기 때문에.
I mean, we are in a really good mood, so I'm sure that we're gonna just take them down.
이제 저도 할만할 것 같아요.
I agree with Kuro.
워낙 좋다 보니까.
Yeah, our performance is so great right now, so I'm really sure.
아주 좋은 걸 잘 배웠네. 사실 근데 이것도 질문이 많이 들어왔어요. 지금 그 처음에는 국대라는 단어 자체가 그냥 워낙
And this is another question.
또 흐름 좋은
So people calling you as a national top laner.
근데 그러다 보니까 국대라는 이름을 보유한 선수끼리 서로 간에 약간 보이지 않는 약간 경쟁 심리가
So is there any competition going around the national Korean team like Faker, you, Score?
국대 또 다른 뭐 선수들이 있나요 지금 좋은 흐름을 갖고?
Is there any competition?
딱히 저는 그런 건 못 느껴서.
Not really.
그런 거 느꼈어요? 잘한다는 거 못 느끼겠어요? 다른 선수들이?
딱히 그냥 그런 거 못 느껴서 잘 모르겠네요 저는.
괜찮아요.
Not really. I haven't really aware. I'm not really aware of that.
즐기고 있다는 그런 얘기 같은데. 그러면 이제 끝으로 어차피
So lastly,
오늘 모두 경기 굉장히 빨리 마무리 졌으니까 오늘 함께 오신 여러분들께서 이제
there are a lot of crowds out here
통해서 역시 아프리카 보람이
cheering for you, supporting for you.
이런 얘기를 담아서 크게 이제 박수를 쳐주고 계시거든요. 팬 여러분께 먼저.
So last message for your fans.
네, 항상 하는 얘기지만 팬 여러분들 저희
You know, this is what I always say, but thank you for all the love and support. I really appreciate it.
지금 공동 1위인가요?
I think we're on a tie for the first spot.
이 성적 그대로 계속
So
유지해서
I'm gonna maintain this score till the end of the split.
더 많이 응원해 주시면
So I'll be looking for more cheers and support for us. Thank you.
자, 그리고 키인 선수입니다. 방금 전
키인.
인터뷰에서 지금 칸 선수가
In the previous interview, Khan said Kiin is one of the most outstanding player in top lane.
기인 선수는 어때요?
What about you, Kiin? What's your comments?
일단 칸 선수가 저를 그렇게 평가해 준 건 감사드립니다.
Well, I really appreciate that comment.
이 위치를 계속 지키려고.
So I'm gonna make sure to just stay in the higher ranks as a top laner in LCK.
자신감 있는 목소리가 확실히 남달라진 것 같아요. 역시
So I wanna just pay off the high respect, high hopes on me. Thank you.
경기 관련된 내용을 좀 나눠봤습니다. 오늘 2대0으로 멋진 승리를 따내면서 MVP.
So this will be the end of the interview with Kuro and Kiin from Afreeca Freecs, and I will pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-san, for the wonderful translation. And that will end the broadcast just about quicker than I even imagined, Papa Smithy. 26 and a half and then 22.
You said what? 28-23, which would have been 51 minutes. We didn't get 51 minutes worth of action here.
This was shorter than the pause we had earlier.
Yeah. BBQ even played better in game one than we could have ever imagined, but it certainly fell apart in game number 2. And Afreeca Freecs are now 5-1, as I say, 6-1 in games, so +5 score overall. They're up there with Gen G. Gen G versus Afreeca, Kingzone against Afreeca. Those are both exciting ones. According to the interview, we will get Kingzone Afreeca, and we will in 2 days' time. Holy moly, that's going to be a fun one. KT hoping to play themselves into form on that day. Tomorrow, it's another Super Wednesday, guys. If you want to watch Korean League of Legends, do we have a lot in the E Stadium? There's going to be so much of it. So we start nice and early. Great for NA fans in particular. We kick off at 2 p.m. Korean Standard Time. So remember when tonight started 3 hours earlier than that. Plenty of Korean League of Legends.
Also on Sunday, actually, next Sunday, we are going to get the first telecom war, SKT versus KT. Unfortunately, one of those teams is kind of out of sorts. The other one is also not at their highest power level. So I feel like the telecom war, more so than any other split that we've had in a while, is actually not the highlight match of this split. What do you think, Papa?
I think 2015 spring was the last time KT was really down the totem pole, so that's one where I agree with you, but if you're going to get up for one match, it better be that one. So hopefully SKT can step up in spite of, like you say, a very poor start to the season and show something against KT, because if that isn't a continuation of the SKT we've seen so far, it's not going to be close.
Shouldn't be close. KT, though, having their own struggles. We'll see which team can develop over this week, right? Because the teams are playing more. They have less time to practice in between the matches. We'll see which one of them kind of gathers themselves after a couple of losses. I think SKT first, they have to prove themselves against MVP tomorrow. Like, that's not even a given at this point, that they can defeat them. It's the first challenge, the first rung of beginning to climb yourself back out of the hole, though.
And that's the team they lost to, if you remember, in the first round robin of spring. So they need to show some answers.